All right, y'all, just a second, and we'll get this kicked off. I apologize for the wait. I appreciate you guys keeping me accountable to getting on this today. Um, hey, I will say, so in the past, like for everybody that has been around for long enough, I know Big Papa Kicks remembers this. I mean, there have been a few Fridays that we have missed, but we always get it knocked out that week. So whether it's Saturday, Sunday, whatever else, it has happened. So today I've had a lot of stuff that I've been busy with. I've got family coming in town, staying with me for the weekend. My sister, her husband, my little niece, and some other stuff going on. So I've been running around scrambling, getting ready for all of that type of stuff. Nearly used as an excuse not to do anything today. Um, but figured why not? Let's keep the streak going. There's enough accountability from everybody in here. So I'm here to make the people happy. So we are back. The one person that I'm a little bit disappointed is not in here right now after as many tweets as he sent out is Lander. I don't know where Lander is. Somebody needs to message that man, get him in here. For now, let's go ahead, shoot it over to Wonka, who was about 30 seconds late on a tweet that he sent out earlier. How did that make you feel?
To be honest, I felt like this is gonna be a cool ass tweet, and then I saw the notification popping up, and I was like, "Fuck, shit."
Bro, I swear I read your mind whenever I was tweeting that out. I knew that you were up to something, and I had to put an end to it.
Yeah, I mean, in my defense, I'm studying for exam tomorrow, but I was like procrastinating in the group with the other guys. So yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes, though, man. If you are not procrastinating while you're supposed to be studying for an exam and then waiting until the final, like 6 hours to actually knock it out and do it, then, I feel like you're not a real university student at that point, right? Like, so I think that you're doing it the right way, Wonka.
Exactly, facts. Yeah.
Yeah, this may be embarrassing to admit, but looking back at it, whenever I was, a university student, I don't think I can remember one single time that I actually studied and felt ready for the test, like well in advance of the test. At least for, there were some easy classes, but when you're starting to talk about your higher level courses that you actually have to put in the work for, I think that I would learn, we say that we had the test every 4 weeks. I think I would learn 4 weeks of material in like the 12 hours before the night before. And that was like every single time I would do that. It's embarrassing to admit, but I mean, hey, like I got A's, so it worked.
12 hours is like
What?
4 times as long as I had to prepare for the test. I'd probably start like 3 hours before.
Well, I respect that even more. I will say the worst thing that I ever did, I'm curious on y'all's side of it. We'll dive into the NFT stuff in a minute. I want to shout out to Dr. Solana while we got him back on stage. But I do want to hear the longest you guys have ever gone without sleep, because I remember it was final. When I took finals my junior fall semester, I stayed up for 3.5 days straight. And I remember, dude, I'm not even joking. It was 3.5 days straight because I was like, I'm just learning everything throughout the course of this. And the very last two finals that I had that Thursday, I like the all I could do, and I'm not even joking when I say this, the only thing my brain allowed me to do was write my name on the top of the paper. Like I could not remember how to do anything else. My brain was working so slowly. I read it and it wouldn't go through. So there is a point of absolute fatigue and exhaustion if you stay up for too long that your brain will just quit working.
I mean, now you can't say that you didn't, like, I don't know, get anything out of university, right? It prepares you for the bull run or whatever to stay awake. So
That's it, man. That's it. So, you're right. If anything, that may have been the most valuable lesson that I learned while I was there.
perfect.
Hey, let's kick it over to Dr. Solano while we got you, man. What's been good?
Yo, what's going on? Just trying to keep myself calm from the FOMO of NIC. It's almost over this week, so just been chilling. I can't agree more, bro. Like I don't even remember my college days. Like you said, got A's at the end of the day, but I don't think I remember. But yeah. How you
Well,
doing?
and I say I got A's. I got mostly A's. I think I graduated with a 3.6. But like that's not terrible for an engineering degree. It could have been better, but it was good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so Rooster, what's going on, man? What's been good today? I was looking for a room 110 space. That's actually another reason why I put it off a little, because you guys have been doing late afternoon spaces, but then I checked and saw y'all had nothing going on. That's when I really was like, all right, if they didn't just get off one, like I really need to make this happen.
Yeah, no, because I think this past week we're thinking we're gonna switch it up to Wednesday, and still working out the logistics of that. But what up, everyone? How's everyone doing today?
Bro, I am doing phenomenal personally. I feel high energy. I haven't been able to get on Twitter much the past couple days, but feel good, feel right. Market's been fun, which is always fun to get back into things like that again. So I don't know. How about y'all? How have you guys been doing with the recent, I guess just seeing everything trending back up again?
Always love it. Always love when things are trending up. I actually haven't even paid much attention to that this past week. Personally, I've been trading the Reddit avatars, the season 3 that they just dropped. And that's been pretty lucrative. But always love the bags pump.
Yo, I'm curious. So, is NFT NYC still going on right now? I want agents to come up and talk about the Pudgy events. If so, I'm kind of curious to hear how everything went. Salon, did you go?
No, that's what I was saying, bro. It's almost over. Resisting myself from going on this last minute for the D God's basement party tonight, but yeah, the FOMO's been real this week.
Wait, are you from the NYC area?
I'm in Pennsylvania, so like 2 hours away, but
Oh, so I mean, you could just take a train ride or whatever and
yeah,
like hop
I
on.
could. It was just I had some in real life stuff this week needed to take care of, so kind of just trying to be responsible with life. But I think a lot of my friends just said fuck it and just went and had a great time. Love to see it though. These kind of in real life events are bringing more attention to it, and these are like the value utility perks for people as holders. So I think people were having a blast this year.
Love to hear it, man. Agents, what's going on, brother? Did you end up making it?
Bro, I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but yeah, I definitely made it. Definitely made my way to some NFT events this week. Pulled an Irish exit last night and took the bus home. And I was like, I'm out of here. If I do one more night of these 6 a.m. screaming sessions, I might never make it back. So yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was awesome. I'd never miss any of these events for the world, and it's just nice having everybody come out, even outside of Pudgy Penguins, which obviously is my community. Like just meeting the Utes guys, the D Gods guys, all these people I've been talking to over the past year, just incredible, and I really do think it pushes the space further, so long as the pictures and content coming out of them aren't strippers getting deli meat thrown at them or taking shoeies. That's but yeah, this is good.
I want to hear the most under the radar legit thing that you did this week, whether it was meeting people, small random bump into somebody that you didn't expect to see, hey, maybe you went to the conference, you heard somebody speak and it was just something that really resonated with you. I want to hear, what alpha did you take away?
Dude, I mean, some alpha that flew under the radar. I was eating brunch, drinking. I wasn't eating. I was drinking mimosas. Okay, I'll be straight up. But with a bunch of Pudgy Penguins, and we were all chilling, and then Bog comes through. Um, And then Luca Nets and like the entire team comes through, and Bog's like, yo, Blur's having an event. You need to go. You need to talk to Pog. So we just mobbed deep over there. And these guys had a really, really nice meetup and discussion. So it's always nice seeing like two founders meet up and talk, and the sparks flying. And I got a Blur hoodie out of it. So that was probably like the alpha that'll fly under the radar because it wasn't, anything official. But the Pudgy team's meeting with the Blur team, and I know there were a lot of other meetings going down that week. So the Pudgy team takes these events very seriously, as you have to get as much FaceTime with people you know and FaceTime with people you don't know yet. So there were a lot of these kind of clandestine, spur of the moment meetings that were going on, and I think there's going to be a couple interesting things that come out of it, and that's about all I'll say on that point.
Love to hear it, man. Absolutely love to hear just your voice too, because like that is a voice of somebody that has had a solid week. I will say this for myself. I have almost to the point where any conference that I go to somehow does something terrible to the market. So from a superstitious point of view, I'm almost avoiding any type of conference at this moment. Like I was really thinking about going. I did think about going to NFT NYC, and I thought about going to Consensus here in like a week or so, but I just don't think that it would be the right thing to do at this point when there's as much momentum. And maybe I'm being too superstitious with this, but I cannot remember one single conference that I've been to where the market has remained bullish while I've been there.
Well, as long as you
Oh,
don't
dude,
count South by Southwest as a conference, because we pumped for that.
But it was not a crypto
Yeah, that's what I'm
conference. It was
saying.
not a crypto
They did
conference,
have
Rooster.
crypto events, but it wasn't a crypto conference.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it was not a crypto specific conference, right? So that was the asterisk.
I mean, dude, I was halfway through it and like ETH broke 2000, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way that we're actually, going up while all this is going on. Um, I'm of the same mind, Calais. I almost hedged my plane ticket and my lodgings with like a leverage short,
Well,
because
agents, all I'm going to say is you're welcome that I didn't go, because otherwise ETH would be trading at about 1,400 right now.
facts, man. Hey, you're pretty bullish on Doge these days, huh?
Dude, I'm bullish on Doge. I mean, Doge is just my one. I'm not playing with a ton of alts still. Doing a little bit because again, like my general thesis is still when Bitcoin explodes from here, I still think that a lot of the alts are going to suffer still. But, it doesn't mean you can't have some fun. And Doge is one of those bets that I'm like, you know what? As far as meme narrative and all that type of stuff coming up, I mean, heck, 420 is next week, right? Like, and I'm just saying, when you're talking about events, I would hope by 419 it's at a place where I can sell out of it, because I don't want to hold through 420. But like, I really think that you've got little narratives like that can spin up for Doge and create these abnormalities as far as being, and especially with the way that alts have been performing while BTC is kind of still stuck here in this 30K range. Yeah, like it's my one kind of fun bet. So, and I love talking about Doge. There's enough of a community around it too that it's really engaging and fun to just see the interaction from them. So yeah, Doge has been a fun little side thing, but I'm still, honestly, I would love it to break out before BTC breaks above this 31 area, just because I would love to rotate back into BTC with what I do have allocated toward it. But if it doesn't happen, oh well. I'm still having fun one way or the other.
It's interesting you mentioned the 420 thing, because I don't know why that didn't hit my radar. Probably because I stopped smoking. But June 9th and September 6th, I have marked in my calendar. Not because I can draw any lines on a chart that mean anything, but because it's 69, right? And those are always interesting days for the altcoins. And I'm like locked in I really can't talk about like what I'm holding or what I'm trading, but I am locked into a derivative dog token uh, that I'm up pretty good on, and maybe I'll DM you privately and have you chart it for me.
Shiba,
But
Floki, Doge, Inu.
yeah, Shiba, Floki, Doge, Inu, Azuki Yacht Club is going to be the next big thing. No. Listen, I'll DM you privately and you can chart it, but you can't post about it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you post about a derivative dog token, they're going to be like, oh, Agents said that. Oh, Agents is posting about a derivative dog token. And I never really tell anyone what I'm involved in. So,
Dude, here's the deal. I even hesitate mentioning and making up a name for a derivative dog token because at this point there probably is something out there. Like there really probably is a Shiba Inu Doge Floki, whatever
Elon
comp
Mars.
coin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like Elon, Safe Moon, Mars, Bored Ape Yacht Club, whatever. I can name any combo out of all those words, and there's probably a meme token for it at this point.
Well, you're big enough the moment you mention it, like people are registering the ENS domains, like just in case.
Yeah, that's the exact point, man. So yeah, I can't. I definitely can't. It's got to be over a certain size to mention. But hey, I'm rooting for you with it. So it's okay. Actually, on that note, I want to hear a little bit more about y'all's thoughts about this. The blocky Doge mint and all the drama surrounding that.
All right, so I was on that space with Thread Guy, completely not talking about like anything to do with this mint. I think we were like the drama we were discussing was like the Nakamigos and like the whole narrative of like influencers pumping and dumping or whatever. And then to see a screenshot where I'm in this space where they're accusing this girl of like getting 200, and I didn't even know this space was called like Doge derivative or whatever, question mark. And I got a blocky Doge too because they like whitelisted all of Abasho. So I was just like, I need to distance myself as much as possible from this. But I didn't sell the blocky Doge. I still have it. But I still think it's wild that she was able to get 200 and like try to obfuscate the record by just transferring between two wallets. Like, have you not ever seen any Zach threads? Like this guy's like graphing wallets against star charts. Like I would never risk it. I would never risk it. So just to think that someone could be ignorant enough to think they could get away with that is just still is wild to me. The space has a lot of maturing to do if that's what's happening at like the upper levels still.
Dude, the funniest thing was reading that tweet and said mistakes were made from a wallet that I controlled rather than saying I made mistakes and did whatever. It was mistakes were made from a wallet that I controlled. It was just the weirdest, like, deflecting language that I have ever read rather than just owning up to it.
Yeah, it was just weird. And what's even sadder is the attention span is so short in this space that the consequences won't be lasting.
No, they won't be. And, heck, you've even seen that with a few people. Like, I can think of Ox Alina, that, simp OnlyFans girl that a bunch of these guys follow and helped trend her account positive during the last bull run. There was some meme coin that popped up that she ended up pumping. And, a little bit of a different situation, but similar, where the team, for talking about it, gave her X amount of allo, and the team was dumb. There was no vesting with it. So she basically just dumped everything and set it to zero like an hour after tweeting about it. And it was all completely traceable. And everybody got called out. And she made these videos crying about how she was sorry and didn't realize what she did and whatever else. and just basically pleaded ignorance to the entire thing. And then somehow, I mean, there was a lot of hate thrown her way, but I mean, her account's still around, still talking about stuff. She still engages with a lot of people on here. And it was, you know, after almost zero real remorse for what she did. I mean, she took, you know, took the money and ran, and like zero even payback toward, you know, project people. I mean, you can't really do it in that situation, but you know, there's just zero real remorse and complete forgiveness almost at the end of the day, right? So I mean, I blocked her, got her off my timeline completely. I actually kind of had her muted before that because I hate seeing, like, you know, the pure simp type posts where it's just luring guys in to get some type of thirst trap attention and not real content that's actually being generated. But yeah, you
I
know,
mean, let's wait. Let's call a
it,
spade, Kaleo. If you could do it, you would.
you
We see
know,
the
hey,
same thing in the real estate industry. You know, you got these Miami realtors.
hey, all I say is people leverage their strengths. And like that, you know, there's certain strengths that I respect and certain strengths that I don't have as much respect for. So that is, you know, all I'm going to say toward that.
Well, it's almost the real question is like with these situations, like this girl getting the 200 blocky doge, or this other person getting, you know, a huge supply of the token that they can crash and not divest. Like fundamentally, are these things being done for marketing purposes? I think a lot of the reasons, yes. And then we get these situations with like knock amigos or whatever, where you're like, oh, it's an influencer shill or whatever. And it's like being involved at the project level in like a couple of things and like knowing a lot of founders, I have to ask, like, what is the acceptable course of action for a completely new project to like break into the space? Because I know I, for one, if I get pushed like a PPC ad for like a new project or a new token or whatever, I'm immediately like, that's a scam. But then when I see influencers pushing it, I'm immediately in my head, oh, that's an influencer pump and dump, right? So like,
Dude, you
what's
know
the
what I think would be a really
acceptable
interesting
roadmap?
concept, agents, that I like, I've never talked about this because I like, I don't know. I even thought about as far as future mints incorporating something like this, but I'm not sure, like two different things. One, the legality of it, because, you know, two, I don't know. I like there are a few complications inherently associated with it, but I'm very like I'm shocked that we've seen zero type of vesting ever incorporated into a mint as far as NFTs. Where I think that like if you do have some type of vesting structure with something like that and it's transparent, that you know some of those type of things where it's like, hey, you know, influencer X got whatever, they can't dump for X amount of time, like guaranteed, I think would be a really, you know, decent way of being able to, you know, still reward people for being incorporated and being part of the project on the front side, but then they have to have some skin in the game for an extended period of time before they can really realize that type of value on the backside.
Did you was Plushies on your radar? Because Plushies did just this, and I am very like careful about what I post on my timeline because of my connections with Pudgy Penguins. But Plushies, who was started by Victor the Viking and Brighty, some notable penguins, they had their inner circle mint, which was basically a free mint for influencers, connected people, whatever. But the contract's written to lock up that free mint for 6 weeks. So I have mine, I minted it, but I still can't sell it for another 4 or 5 weeks. And I think that was a very interesting thing because I felt comfortable posting about it because I'm not going to immediately dump it. I'm never going to sell it anyway. But I think it was like the first time I ever encountered that quote unquote vesting schedule for NFTs. And I think it was pretty smart on their part to do it.
No, I had not seen that they had done that, but no, I like that. And I think that there are, you know, I think that's a like it's a smart idea for a lot of projects going forward. I think there are ways that you can go around that and go about it, but I think that that's one thing that I'm really surprised we haven't seen more of an incorporation of. But that's still not a perfect answer. But I do think that giving the real thing at the end of the day is looking at what happened with this one. I don't think that necessarily even the dumping it was the bad part, right? Had she never brought it up in the first place on her timeline and an hour earlier tweeted something about, oh, whatever, I'm in, and then an hour later getting caught on a wallet dumping it, that is just completely dishonest, right? So there's a complete difference there. I think it's the way that you talk about it. Say that she had never mentioned it at all, but she had somehow been gifted because of her connections to the project, and they had told her about it and whatever else, and they were friends and they gave it to her. And then she did it. Yeah, maybe it's a slap in the face to that team, but at that point I wouldn't call it dishonesty toward anybody else on the timeline, because it's not like they promoted it, at least extremely recently, and really talked about any shift of ideals or opinions or whatever else. So I look at it from that type of perspective, where it was just a quick flash in the pan, and zero real, complete dishonesty, saying one thing, doing another.
200 is crazy though. That she could get 200 when it was a free mint one per wallet is just egregious. It's so egregious that it's laughable. And by the way, I'd never heard of her before either. So I feel like there's so many more prolific influencers who would have taken that deal that I almost think it's got to be something else than hey, we're going to give you 200 to talk about this.
Well, so I've heard of her and I've talked to her before. I never had anything against her. I don't spend enough time with a bunch of that inner circle crowd that I really know everybody's ins and outs on the same way I do from CT perspective. But I never had anything against her. And hey, again, I'm not fully on the in crowd. Maybe somebody could tell me something I don't know toward it. But yeah, man, it was just a little bit of a, I don't know. Again, it just shows you got to be careful of a lot of the, the people, the way they act, but also, the way you act. So if you ever are in that type of fortunate position to have that type of thing, just be smart. don't do that type of shit. It's that easy. 9 out of 10 times you're gonna get caught.
Yeah, I only post about stuff that I'll bag hold to zero.
The cost of the 20 ETH that she ended up profiting from it, I think, is way more costly than whatever reputation hit that she took from it. So,
which again would be a bigger deal if this space actually remembered it, but these instances are so prolific that I'm sure there's people in the audience right now who have zero idea what we're even talking about, right? It could be one of a million different people doing these shifty transactions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's the only real big drama from this week that I can think of within the space. I don't think there was anything else really too insane. It felt kind of like a quiet week outside of that, as far as the NFT space was concerned, because I feel like a lot of the movers in the space are over there in NFT NYC. Shout out to T for a nice little wonky sweep. So nice little action there. But yeah, I felt like outside of that, as far as major news within the NFT space, nothing too crazy, right?
Except the Reddit drop. They just dropped the largest ever NFT collection to date. I think total was 374,000 NFTs, of which 100 and some thousand have been minted so far.
Dude, that's why I actually didn't even know about the Reddit drop until you brought it up a bit ago. So
it's wild. It's great. It's two different communities, and being Reddit and Twitter are pretty much the only quote unquote social medias I use. And it's because you can kind of tailor the information that you receive, and you're not bombarded with bullshit as much. And it's kind of funny seeing the different dynamic between the Reddit quote unquote digital collectible space. If you call it an NFT, you'll get downvoted to shit. They hate the word NFT over there. It's pretty funny, but digital collectible, you instantly get 1,000 upvotes.
That's hilarious, man. Like, do you think it deals back to the stigma still of the green argument toward NFTs slash against NFTs? Do you think that's a big part of the stigma that they have toward the hate of it? Or, is it just crypto culture in general is just completely hated upon, so they don't want to recognize they're actually part of it?
It's it's kind of a combination of a bunch of things, and especially in the subreddits, like it's a lot of hive mentality, and then a lot of internet keyboard warriors who like try to prove themselves right, but that's anywhere you go. So I think it's like a combination of everything. There's a subreddit called Buttcoin, and it's just filled with people who hate Bitcoin with a burning passion. And they've been coping over the last pretty much since New Year's of how it's going up because they were all convinced Bitcoin was going to zero, around Christmas time and all last year. And yeah, so it's pretty funny the difference in mentality, but it's a more immature market. So, right. So Reddit NFT digital collectibles, like the mindset is like late 2021 NFTs. So you almost kind of have an advantage if you play it properly because you kind of know the pattern that they're going to follow over there. So I've kind of been exploiting that advantage, and I've been able to capitalize some pretty decent gains so far. Been a couple days. I'm gonna write it out for like the next week or two.
10-4, man. Well, let's go ahead and kick it over to Wilhelm Schultz von Beck.
Yeah, what is up, guys? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Hey, I'm an American. That's just my name. Okay, so for me, and this is my perspective. I've been into Bitcoin for a number of years, only Bitcoin. I think the umbrage that the crypto community experiences is that most Bitcoiners are here to separate money and state. So we look at things like NFTs as just silly games. And that's just the consensus that I experience. We're not here for profit and loss. We're here to separate money from state, and that is it.
Well, but Wilhelm, let me just stop you. Like, I get that argument from the Bitcoiners' perspective. The difference that Rooster was talking about was from somebody like on Reddit. Heck, the subreddit Buttcoin are people that hate Bitcoin and they hate the word NFTs, anything crypto related, yet they are still out here participating in this digital collectible drop that Reddit is hosting that is, on Polygon / Matic, which is a shitcoin. So, they are actually minting and trading NFTs, yet they refuse to call them NFTs. They call them digital collectibles. So we're just talking about the irony of that community.
Oh, okay, I see. And
yeah.
I hadn't really experienced, I didn't even know there were people that are that dumb out there. But hey, different strokes for different folks. I'd say at the end of the day, as long as you have at least a little bit of Bitcoin, do what you want, play your games as long as you understand it's for profit and loss. And then we still need an actual decentralized protocol that enables individuals to hold a hard asset that cannot be deflated from underneath them. So that's
Sir,
just it for me. That's just my opinion.
This is a casino.
And with that, I shall take my leave. I bid you all adieu.
Hey, I appreciate you coming up, man. Hey, Wilhelm, I'll look for your face on one of these days when I'm doing another. I'm sure you've been through some of my other week. Oh, shoot, he just took off. Well, all right. Anyway, we'll move on.
He's over there trying to
Love
separate state and money. He's
Well, you
fighting
know
a
what I
hard
think
battle.
of when I hear that type of commentary, though, Rooster. We literally saw, the hooded guy meme spectrum with the IQ curve, where you've got the alpha or the bell curve where you've got 5% over here, 5%, and then you've got the middle of the bell curve. You just brought up the Buckcoin side. That's on the far left. Maybe this Bitcoin guy's on the far right, and the NFTs are all right there in the middle. That's the meme that I'm picturing right now. Agents, what's up, man? You've had your hand up for a while.
All right, so the Reddit thing. I do want to talk about this because this came on our radar 6 months ago when they first launched the digital collectibles.
Yeah, they've
right,
had
Rooster?
3 seasons so far. So there's a season 1, and then I forgot winning. I think it was late summer that dropped. Season 2 was like Halloween time, October, and then season 3 was this past Monday.
All right, so 6 months ago, I had already been. It took 3 months for us over here on Twitter to realize that Reddit. To really realize, I'm sure a couple people saw it because there's some crossover between communities, people who use Twitter, people who use Reddit. But I use Reddit quite a bit. And I was like, wow, it's amazing that no one on Twitter is talking about this. And I think I posted a tweet and it got no engagement. And then 3 months later, I guess the right people started talking about it and everyone took notice. And it is 100% just because of the culture that they've developed over on Reddit over the past 5, 6, 7 years, where there are certain words, and this goes outside of cryptocurrency, but there are just certain words that evoke certain reactions from the user base, whether organic or inorganic. And those words are Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency, and NFTs. And if you go through any of Reddit's outward facing, consumer facing materials, it mentions none of that. None of that. And I had posted, when everyone was talking, I'm like, we got to stop using the word NFT. They're digital collectible because easier to it's
So digital collectibles is the Trojan horse into that community.
yeah, not that we need to infiltrate community, but it's a microcosm of a large problem. These words end up getting a certain connotation, and we want to clutch our pearls and hold on to them because we want to be able to, do the air horns. We were right. We were right. Look at these guys. They were fudding us, and now they're aping. And that's totally not the way to drive it forward. You have to be okay to shift the rhetoric and the nomenclature. You have to be okay to not get the "I told you so." We're so fixated on wanting to be "I told you so" and these people are stupid and whatever. And
See,
another
but
thing,
agents,
this isn't a
here's
dig
my
at you,
deal with a lot of
Kaleo.
this.
Hold on, this
Well,
isn't
go
a dig
ahead.
at you, but calling Polygon a shit coin, I know you're being jokingly around it, but Polygon's pushing the space forward by doing these kind of drops with
Dude,
Reddit.
I'll call ETH a shitcoin, agents.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I like anything that's not Bitcoin, I'll still call it shitcoin, one way or the
Oh,
other.
here we
So,
go.
that's just
I know you're
maybe
joking.
that's an old school mentality of speaking toward it, but that's and I'll have somebody that's a BTC maxi up on stage and they'll sit there and praise that and they'll follow through and they will take this moral stance toward that. Or I'll get somebody that is fully vested in these projects that takes such offense toward the nomenclature. But at the end of the day, I just view it as a grouping where, I like an altcoin slash shitcoin, same terminology, same thing. And it stands for anything that's not Bitcoin. And I am obviously not a maxi for Bitcoin to the point to where I won't trade anything else because I obviously am incredibly plugged in everything else, but I still see it all as shitcoins. So, and I get it if people are offended by it, but I really, I just think it's something that's so ingrained to the culture of this space that I won't ever change it.
I'm offended.
Aleo, baby, not a dig at you. The point I'm trying to make is picture you're someone who got onboarded to cryptocurrency through Reddit NFTs and you haven't delved into the lore and all the words we use. Okay, collectibles, I'm coming around. And because Polygon is what onboarded you and what you're comfortable with and what you're familiar with, then you hear people calling it a shit coin. And it's like, you don't know everything behind that, right? And I'm not saying there's anything like personally you could be doing to change this or I could be doing to change this. It's like a problem that'll be persistent in the space as people are getting onboarded from different routes and different avenues, and they have to consume vast amount of knowledge just to be on an equal playing field with everybody else in this what is essentially a PvP space, you know?
Hey, and if that's the case, and if they get shaken out by the word shitcoin, let them run. Um, but I don't know, like that. I do agree, but I think that's something you run into with any new space that you're unfamiliar with, right? Say that you're I mean, heck, even not in the crypto space. Say that you are somebody brand new to the States and you are a new English speaker and you come here. There are so many idioms that people use that you are going to be lost as heck, right? Like, you are not going to understand half the things people say. And it doesn't mean that they are being nefarious toward you and trying to lead you astray. It just gets ingrained to the culture at a certain point. It takes a little bit of time to be able to pick up and learn those phrases and learn those ideas. So I think that it's one of those things where, if you constantly are worried about catering your approach toward the minutia of any space, then you're never going to be fully yourself toward it. And again, like, yeah, so I understand some of the sentiment that you're talking about from that group. But dude, I mean, even little things like the word Web3, I actually started to hate the term Web3 versus, like, it has been associated with so much cringe on the timeline that I can't stand Web3 anymore. Where, there are a lot of people, because I feel like Web3 just got associated with this woke ideology where it was used in so many defenses of, man, we can't say XYZ because in Web3 we stand for something different. And we're like, no, that's not Web3. That is your wokeism that's walking your ass into this space and trying to like convert it and take it over into something that it isn't. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. That's any good thing can be twisted and contorted by a certain group if you're not careful.
There is
100%.
there's like a slight different dynamic in the way the quote unquote NFT slash digital collectibles are used on that platform as well. So like the way it kind of works is they have artists who make like pretty much they make three different avatars. They pretty much have three different tier collections within the artist. And these avatars you can customize on your profile and do mashups. So it's not like, a lot of people like you'll get a little bit, it's mixed reactions. You'll get hate if you go and you're like, yo, I just swept, 10 of this certain avatar, right? Because you're going to get mixed reactions too. Because some people are like, well, I don't even really care what the floor price is at because I'm in it for the art and I'm not selling it anyway. You got those coffee drinking hipsters that like think they're too good to make money selling art, right? And then you have the other people who don't care about the avatars at all, right? They just flood in to make money. And they want everyone to pump whatever bag they're holding. And same thing like in the Twitter as well. It's a lot of tribalism, right? Even this past week, there's pretty much been a new pump every day just from, hype and tribalism. So there's some similarities and some differences. You can mint them with credit card, and they're pretty cheap to mint overall. I mean, some of them start at like $5. I think the most expensive one was 200, and those are super small collections. So yeah, it's just a whole different marketplace, a whole different dynamic of the people, but the way they act is almost underlying the same. And if you have enough experience, like you can definitely capitalize on what's going on over there.
So these are all being, all the profits from these mints are going directly to Reddit, correct?
No, I think the profits actually like 100% of mint. I mean, unless you buy it on iPhone, then Apple gets their 30%. But I think the majority of the profits go to the artists, and I think Reddit takes a cut of the royalties, to be honest.
Okay,
What's
that's
like the standard royalty over there?
I think it's 5%, so pretty much like standard royalty across the board.
I wonder how they go through their artist selection to get to that point then,
You
because
can apply.
when you're talking about Reddit that's, so decentralized on the opportunity basis from what you're talking about as far as their ideology, it almost sounds, even though they are supporting artists from the sounds of this, it still sounds like a pretty centralized opportunity where you've got several people that are raking in this large percentage, and like, how do those artists get chosen versus whatever. I could see that being a source of drama within their community.
Yeah, I mean, you can fucking find a source of drama with anything, right? Like, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be true, right? Like, I mean, so even if there was someone behind the scenes that was, handpicking friends to be their artist, or if there wasn't, like, people are going to say something like that to begin with. It's not something you're ever going to be able to avoid. But I know to become you can request to become an artist for the next season. And I don't know, I haven't done it. But yeah, you submit an application. You pretty much you have a base template that you have to follow, essentially, and then it just has to be able to mash between other avatars, right? Like you can mash like 7 different avatars together to create your own personal profile picture.
Well, the one thing I'll say toward all this, depending on the success, everything else of it, but it seems like it's been decently successful so far, especially season 3. I mean, it's not fully minted out, lots of mints so far. I'm sure it will eventually mint out. Is how long until we see other social media platforms take this as a potential revenue source? Because, if the model works with Reddit, it'll work elsewhere.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Reddit's definitely a different type of platform than Facebook or Instagram. I could see Twitter potentially being able to do somewhat successful, but they've kind of already integrated themselves into
But
the current
it's also
NFT
like
marketplace.
I
all
could see
these
Twitter. I
all
could
these
see Discord.
collectibles and all these drops on Reddit are actually like derivatives of a character that had branding behind it for like the entirety of Reddit's history, called Snoo, which is like their avatar. So when Rooster's talking about it has to follow a template, they're all basically derivatives of one singular avatar, right? And I don't think that would translate to Instagram or Facebook as much as it does with Reddit. It's almost like a unique. It really is like a unique market fit for them.
And it's like it has a nice IP too. It's not, like, I mean, the Discord has their logo, right? But it's not something that you can, create hundreds of thousands of avatars based off of,
Well, a
right?
Facebook, for instance, you could have like a mini Zuck army. And who wouldn't want a derivative of Zuckerberg and his bald head and, the way that's... No, I'm kidding. I don't even think Facebook crowd would be able to figure out how to mint an NFT, even if you gave them a credit card option.
They like this. They were gonna integrate with Instagram, and I think they just shelved the whole initiative. They were just like, "All right, yeah, we're out. Not gonna do this." And I was kind of excited about it. But another interesting thing, that was all going to be Polygon too, right? So it really seems like Polygon is breaking through a lot of barriers that other coins are struggling with.
It's a great shitcoin.
Yeah, it's I think it's mainly because of the
Call it a
cost per
shitcoin one more time,
transaction.
Kaleo. Sorry, Rooster.
Yeah, no sweat. Probably just because the cost per transaction is so low, right? Like if you're trying to get someone to buy something and there's a $15-20 just transaction fee, that's going to deter your common person. So either right, either the company like Reddit or Facebook's going to have to foot that transaction cost, or the buyer is, and if they have to pay a fee that's twice as much as the cost of the NFT, I don't think they're going to do it. And they're sure probably as hell not going to put it on Solana.
Well, I was going to say, I was about to bring that up. the other thing with Polygon, like you don't have random outages for hours on end. Hey, and I don't want to knock Solana too badly. I actually really do think Solana is going to do some good stuff this next cycle. But it is fun to
kick them while they're down, Kaleo. Kick them while they're down.
Hey, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, agents.
I literally said that earlier today. One thing about Solana though, that was announced this week, or Pandas have announced the final chain they're going to be minting on Solana, which is going to be very interesting. They're going to be top contender on that chain immediately for the number one spot.
By the way, genius move on their part, because with D-Gods and Utes leaving, like there is definitely a power vacuum in Solana right now for who's going to be the top. So I think very smart move by Bags and the team to do that.
Yeah, and plus, optics of just moving to Solana as well, right? Like that's a decision. Like your final chain is gonna be Solana rather than moving away from it. So I think the community is gonna accept that pretty well, and you've kind of already seen it. Bags kind of did a little bit of space, and he's going to do another spaces tour with the Solana community. But they seem pretty ecstatic, and the way they're going to do mints, pretty interesting as well. They're going to start a blind Dutch above the floor price, so it's going to be minting over 150 SOL immediately. So I'm pretty sure that places him and definitely in the top 3. So it'll be interesting to watch. So been pretty happy sitting in Pandas and Stonks, and we'll continue to ride this wave while everybody else is down 40-50%.
Very cozy.
Hey, well, gents, I appreciate you guys joining today. Sorry again to everybody in the audience for how late we ended up doing this, but hopefully there was a little bit of a different group that ended up getting to sit in and join today. But unfortunately, I do still have a lot of stuff I've got to knock out this afternoon. So I have to go ahead and call it for the day. Johnny,
yeah, he's going to sign up for Reddit and start trading collectible avatars. Don't lie to us, Kaleo.
That's it. I'm actually right now. Agents just sent me the link to Blocky Doge, Inu, Shiba.
Yeah. That's it. Don't freaking post about it. Just let me know what the chart looks like. I'm too stupid. To me, because of my bag bias, the chart is excellent. Mwah, chef's kiss. But I'd like an actual person who knows what the hell they're looking at.
I'll take a look, man. I'll take a look. But love you guys, and we will see y'all next week for the 61st straight week of the Wonky Weekly Alpha Spaces. So love you guys, and we will actually, before I end this, I've got to put the alpha in the name of the title because I think it's the only one that doesn't have it. There we go. It's there. So, all right, y'all, take it easy. Lander, thanks again for all of the tweets today, getting this out there, and everybody else as well.